All right, I am so excited. Welcome to the Quantum Compass, a podcast where we have conversations and meet with people that are making a difference. These are our change makers in the industry of health, wellness, coaching, anybody who is doing things to help people, what I call the ripple effect, and make this big difference in the world. And I'm so excited to bring these stories and these beautiful, wonderful goddesses, and I'm sure we'll have some amazing men too, but come on and talk to us about what they're doing in the world and how it's collectively building our consciousness up into a higher frequency, and just really their vision, their heart, their momentum. And so today have Jessica Rebecca here, who I am so excited to introduce you to and hear from and just have these conversations with. I met her at a retreat a few months ago, and she lives in Switzerland, or she's from Switzerland, right? And I was like, I'm obsessed with Switzerland. I feel like I must be there at all. And she's like, come, come, come. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. And then we just became friends and started talking about all of the things that we want to talk about today. So I'm going to introduce you to her and have her explain a bit about her magic in the world. So, hi, girl. What's up? Tell us about yourself.
Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for having me. And I just realized really when we were on the retreat, I think most of the time we just talked about Switzerland. And it was beautiful to see it through your eyes because you always get so, when you're living, you don't see the magic of your own environment. It was so beautiful for me to see, like this really stick with me to see it then from a different perspective. And I just wanted to voice that. And it just like in the end, we were like, oh, we're actually doing like so many similar things and are into the same like deep transformation work. And what I'm doing is I'm working with the body sensations to guide people really deep into themselves, because I believe, or I know, the body stores everything. So it's through the body that we can access our past history, our subconscious, our limiting beliefs. Can even go further back to past life if this is something that is still impacting you. And what I love about this deep work, it's like such a gentle tool. It's not forcing, but it's allowing it to unravel, because it's a process. We are here on a journey. It's never about to being perfect, but evolving over time. And it's really about then for me to go deeper and deeper inside of oneself to unravel, because I really believe it's everything from the inside out, how we create our outer reality. Everything comes from us. And like through this, it feels so empowering to see and feel that. And so it's like not a one-time experience, but a really deep transformation. But yeah, this is what I'm really passionate about. It's not only about mindset work, but also like with chronic pain or illnesses, how it manifests in the body.
So tell us more about that. Like, what do you see the most when you have your clients? What do they come to you specifically saying that they need?
It's mostly, so I actually only work with people who have done certain therapies before. So they've mostly done talk therapy. So they've been in their head a lot. Like they know certain stories, they might know certain triggers, but they're still repeating the same patterns. So they're kind of feeling stuck. And it's also a lot of women who come, and I see the same amount of patterns like menstrual pain, but they don't usually come because of these pains, but more of like they want to be more of a woman, like reclaiming their power back. They feel like they're missing something. And then they're all having like similar like bodily pains, like as I said, the menstrual pain, like very heavy pain, but also like especially like in the neck and shoulder, like that they can't fully breathe here in the diaphragm or like solar plexus area. So this is very interesting to observe, especially in women. But then when I look at men, it's a different story, because I feel like we women are a little bit more in tune with our body. So it's easier for us to drop into our body, even though it takes time for people to get used to, because we're so in our head, like we are on our phone, like numbing with scrolling. And for men, I feel like they're having even a denser energetic or like formation, so it takes them more time, and they usually also start with breath work to guiding them first deep and connecting them with their body. They're like totally different issues, like sleep issues as an entrepreneur, or like still like always being in the head of thinking about the business and like how to gain like clarity on solutions.
Mm-hmm. And so how does it work? Like if I came to you and said, I'm having really painful periods, I don't feel connected to my bleed. Like I feel like it's something that's happening to me instead of like a part of my natural cycle, and I want to really embrace my full menstrual cycle for the superpowers that it is. I mean, most people are probably not saying that, but that's what I believe.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, I'm in pain, and you're like, because I help
Yeah.
people too in a different way. So I would love to hear like what would be some of the things that you would do with me.
So I always start with like talking to people, because I feel like that's like how like to creating this safe space everyone is talking about, and also relating. Like relating for me personally is so important, and not like making something up, but just like making this person feel seen, and like asking, especially when it comes to their bleed, asking them questions like, how can they remember their first bleed? What did they have? Someone they could talk about it? What was the feeling underneath it? What was the relationship to their mother at that time? Like the support there. But what's actually very interesting with this is there's like no correlation, because I always thought maybe there's a correlation between if your mom is like supportive of it, telling you all about it, or if she's like suppressing it. But this doesn't actually make a difference. It's something so collective and deep inside of us. So I found that very interesting. So that's like the first thing. And then I would really guide you like in a grounding meditation, just that you arrive in the space. And in this, when you close your eyes, I also ask you to invite the intention. And even if they say they're coming with menstrual pain, sometimes it's even then something different that arises in this state, because I really say, let us the intention come. But it's always connected to the bleed. So it can be, oh, I actually want to feel like relaxed. And then I usually guide them. I ask them where they feel this intention in the body. And if they're like new to this, I guide them to their womb space. So I do that also with putting their hands on their womb, because always when you haven't been connecting to your body before, it always helps so much to put your own hands on these areas you want to go into. Then I just guide them like, what do you sense in your womb? What is present? Do you see something? And I start inquiring that. But this is very individually, like they're always like questions. Usually if it's the first session, there's a lot of like fog people see. It needs to be moved and get out of the body so one can get deeper into it. And it's so interesting. Like in the beginning, I was always a bit like nervous, like, do people like experience something? But it's crazy. Like everyone, like what they see, like shapes and forms. And really when you're asking them like, how old is it? Then like memories come up of like a 3-year-old or 12-year-old or whatever. And like, this is just incredible, like how our body knows and remembers, and it can show us to us if we are open to listen to it, if we feel safe. And it's then, yeah.
I love that so much. And this is so important and just a part of this conversation that I want to bring up that I notice with what I do in my clients that's so connected to this, and is just the act of, like you said, touching yourself, like just the act of self-care. Like I see such a difference with people. Like basically all of my clients, they have to, anybody doing health, anybody should be doing this, but specifically when you're doing like I do a lot of gut microbiome, hormone support, neurotransmitter, minerals, like all of immune, autoimmunity, like all of these things get trapped in the body. Like it's not just about detoxing, it's about actually eliminating and using the lymph system as a superpower, like as part of, flow, and things get blocked and stuck in the lymph system or in the fascia. And so like, let's say for instance, just kind of around this is that when our fat cells actually carry inflammation, and so if you release them quickly or you lose weight too quickly or not in the right way, then you're releasing all of this inflammation, and then the body and the nervous system has to deal with that. So that's part of like taking care of the lymph system. Side note. But with this, part of taking care of the lymph system is this active self care. We're doing dry brushing and massaging. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't have time for that. And I'm like, you don't have time
Mm.
not to do that. Like, you have to eliminate it. And when people start doing this, it's like you have to set aside at least 45 minutes to massage and touch yourself. And when they start doing it, I mean, it's like it's in your protocol. You have to do it. You can't not do it. It's like, and
Yeah.
people start doing this and they're like, whoa, like I really notice a difference. And yes, it's not just moving the lymph system, because what I notice, it's the act that their body is like, ooh, thank you. Like,
Mm.
thank you for taking time for me. Thank you for touching me. Thank you for showing me you care. You actually care about me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the shift.
Yeah. I feel that so deeply. Like, I believe it's so important to have sessions, but it's then in daily life, and like practices in place is key. Also like self-love, like as you said, touching, but also like moving, especially if connecting with the womb. There's like so many different like circle movements, and yeah, like putting your hands on your womb and just feeling yourself. Or
Yeah.
also like the womb and the gut, they're so interconnected. So like just massaging your womb, and it's so easy when you're lying in front of the TV in the evening, just massage your womb and womb and stomach a bit. It's
Yeah.
like to start implementing it, but it's so key. Like I think that's a groundwork to have these certain practices in place, and they need to evolve with you, like,
Mm.
and change up as well. But certain things, they always stay with you. And I think especially as women, like moving in the morning, like this was a big change for me, because I always had like this still masculine practice like meditation, but then starting to connect with my body and like massaging my jaw, as it also so connected again to the womb and the whole body. It's
Yes.
key.
Yeah, and it's this concept, right? That like you hear people talk and treat themselves in a way that they would never ever treat someone else.
Mm.
And so I think it's like thinking about like how would I look at someone or touch someone or speak to someone, or a loved one, like your partner. How would I touch them and treat them? Like, why am I not doing the same? Like, it starts with us first, and it's really
Yeah.
hard, I think, and difficult to like work on any type of connection or healing when you don't trust yourself or your body doesn't trust your consciousness and your subconsciousness. And like that is what this is all about, is really just that reconnection that you are more than just a physical body, and
Mm.
what you think about yourself and how you touch yourself and how you treat yourself is actually the ripple effect of how you show up,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And it's also like with the nervous system, like our cells, even though we are an ocean apart, still like our nervous system, our cells, they interact, or energetics, and it's all through the body that it comes through, because the body is, for me, the divine manifestation of everything we are. And I think it's also so beautiful if you start doing deep work, you can see your face, your body shifting, and also like, I don't know if you've witnessed that as well, but like losing weight without actually putting effort into like counting calories, but it just then comes a little bit more natural to eat different things, or just like it doesn't need this protection anymore.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's actually always the energetics of the thing. It's not like if you're, let's say, doing diets and it's a quick fix, it's not going to work, because the energetics of it isn't coming from self-love, self-respect, integrity. You know what I mean? It's like I just want to do this and I need to do it. I need, instead of like this thing of, okay, what are the actions and the behaviors and the habits that I can come from a place of love? Like I love myself. I want to be healthy. I desire to be healthy. I desire to be healthy and rip and show, and it's like
Yeah.
it's all about perception.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the biggest misconception um with doing things because they think they like it's gonna work instead of I'm doing this because my body deserves it, because
Mm.
I deserve this. And this like I have this saying, being humble is bad for your health. And it's true, it's like, and so that's why I love what you're doing, and because it's just coming at it from we're doing the same thing but in a completely different way, you
Yeah.
know so it's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's so important. It's so, like, as you said, it's like you see these quick fixes out there, which was so normal, but they also like come from this. If you think about, if you're like into dieting and you're like really hard with yourself, I really invite you to think of like, who does this remember of? Who has been hard on you, and why are you putting that like on your diet, on your body, and where else are you showing this in your life? Because I feel like most of us, we never learned to be gentle with ourselves, to love ourselves really, like our bodies. It was also actually for me, even though I've been doing this work for such a long time, I feel like it was only this year when I was really in the gym and like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for my body that it can do these 12 burpees. And I'm really like, it's the worst thing. Like, it's the worst thing. There's nothing else. But like, oh my gosh, crazy. My body is so strong. It can do that.
Wow. Yeah, those are not my favorite.
No. And I was like, yes, that's what I was wanting for so long, to like be making it really a practice to be grateful for my body and everything it can do, that I can get up in the morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this is also so key to come back to this, because then our body, I think we are so much more in tune in it, and it tells us what it needs.
Mm.
I don't know how it is for you, and I would love to hear, but for me, it's definitely then I can sense what I need to eat on that day. Is it like more vegetable, or is it more meat, or is it actually, do I need some carbs? And like just trusting this as well. Or maybe it's even, oh, do I need a certain supplement today?
Well, that is beautiful and perfect in how it's supposed to be. So if you are someone who doesn't feel connected, that you can be like, right now, I need more protein. I ate something and I immediately can feel like, ooh, that didn't agree with me in this moment. That's how it's supposed to be, but I find so many people are disconnected from that sense. Again, like your perceptions and your senses are your superpowers, and so many people are disconnected from that because they're in what's called like low grade inflammation, so that they get these like this language of the body communicating with you like, I don't like that, I don't like that, like a headache, joint pain, aches, gas, like these are not things that are just supposed to happen every day. That's your body telling you something. And I think so many people get into this low grade inflammation that they can't tell like what you're saying, like what is the signal. And so that is my work, is trying to help people like, let's look at the actual physical body and figure out what is blocked from maybe a digestion, nutritional, inflammation standpoint, and move that out of the way. Then come in with the subconscious and come in with the patterns and come in with the energy, and then recommend also somebody like you to do the somatic work. Like I feel like that's why I love this connection, because it's all relative, but it's beautiful that you feel that way, because I feel so many people have never ever felt that way in their life.
Yeah. Yeah, I so agree with this. And I feel like it's so much to do with deconditioning ourselves, like energetic beliefs. But as you said before, maybe there is like a cleanse in general if your body that you need. Like I was a vegan for 3 or 4 years, and I think I needed this, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, I need meat again in my life. I need this so badly, like to be more grounded or whatever. But, and I probably, it wasn't like healthy in that aspect, but I feel like it needed my system or my energy as well. But also I can see that I put like because I was restricting myself. I put like a little, like a top on it, like to just close myself up to something. It felt like I was like putting myself again in this box, or like deconditioning again from this as well, and like being like, okay, like how can I feed my body properly and start to listen to it again. And I think it was especially when I started to do more like working with my womb that this then came up. So I found this very interesting for myself to witness, and also being graceful for myself for this change again, because it was such a strong belief I had into this. So it's, I think, always also evolving like how we are evolving.
Such a good point. We've been talking, both of us have been talking a lot about my hero, Bruce Lipton. And one of the things that he says that I love so much, and so Dr. Bruce Lipton essentially invented, like, discovered epigenetics. And obviously that's what I'm all about. So, but he says something all the time where he calls BS. Like somebody will be saying something, he's like, oh, BS. And his BS stands for belief systems.
I love it. I was just like wondering because I never heard about it.
Like BS instead of bullshit. He's like,
Yeah.
belief systems. And it's so true. It's like, as far as evolution, like we have to be able to, like, exactly what you said, like look at our belief systems and like reevaluate and is that still true? Is that still relevant? Do I need to shift?
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm
And it
stuck in
never
our belief
stops.
systems.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
It never stops, right? It's like always over again, like inviting a curiosity into your life and how you're being, how you're doing business, how you're showing up. I think this is so important. I see that also with clients who are like, oh, but I need to go. I'm not feeling 100%, but I need to go to work. Like, this is how it's done. I'm like weak when I don't go to work. And I'm like, yeah, but go really deep inside of you. Like, where does this come from? Is it really like, is it now that you really need rest because you're not feeling well? And you see them pushing yourself, and where does it lead you? And it can be so hard to change these things because they're so deep inside of us. And especially through the epigenetics DNA, like it comes from generations, like it's so far, yeah. And so there's like so many different tools can support us in changing this on
Yeah.
all different levels, right? Yeah, that's what we are all about.
So tell us your story. Like, how did you get into doing this? Like, why
So
is
from
it such a vision for you to to help people?
so for me, it was really, as I said before, I did like I grew up in a very like spiritual household, but also like business. So like I was familiar with energy healing. Reiki was like the norm, homeopathy, everything that was like, yeah, everyone says that, but there can be a dark side to this as well. But that's like, so I've been familiar with this. So I read a lot about stuff, but I always felt like I want like more to understand it with my mind because there was so much energy stuff. So I kind of cut this off a bit. And so I found a really good psychotherapist after 2 tries, which weren't good. So started to work with her a lot in my head. And I found, with this, I discovered a lot of my belief system and my stories. But I was still in my head and repeating the same things. And I always had like on my left side, on my neck and shoulder, was so in pain. And like all the physiotherapy and stuff like didn't work. Osteopathy, like it helped for the moment, but it always came back. So I really had then this intention, I want to start working more with my body, especially that I did breath work, which I love, but it always was like a one-time experience. And so I came across this tool called somatic inquiry, which I'm also working with now. And this just changed me because I really went into this. My intention was really with my shoulder and neck pain and going into this, but also like feeling my body more because I always felt so disconnected. I felt like I was living here. And yeah, through this, like I unraveled so much stuff and really like saw old stories and patterns. And it really came a huge trauma from my childhood back into my conscious mind, which I didn't remember, but my body did. And that's why I dissociated. And it was like over time, like in little steps, always when I was ready and new information was revealed to me, because I think if it would have happened all in once, it probably would have been too much for my system. So it was incredible. I was actually sitting here on this couch having a session and reliving this experience. And I thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like dying. But I was here with my logical mind. So in this whole session, like the energetics shifted all around me so deeply. Then over the next few days as well, and dream work, and I was like, wow, it really shifted my inner reality, but then immediately my outer reality, like situations I was struggling with, like female bosses, fell away. Like new things opened up. I felt so empowered in myself as never before, because I was able to finally see the truth instead of running away from it or numbing it. I was like standing here, like feeling it, but also bringing my logical understanding to it, and like working with this and also in daily life. Like we both know fear is the way. So like obviously then this like trigger came up sometimes with other people, and just like knowing, oh, this is this trigger, and like holding myself in it and moving through this, interacting with this person who triggered me. And this just shifted. And I was like, oh my God, in the beginning, I didn't realize it, that this is what I was supposed to do, because I always had this calling in me to support people. And then I thought, yeah, it's breathwork coaching, but it didn't feel quite right. I quit my corporate job to pursue that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is how I support people, but not only like in one session, but over a longer period, and also in between, as I see how the shift happens in daily life as well. And I want there to be a support system, because I truly believe we heal so much faster if we have someone who we can relate to, who we can share this to, and there's no judgment. So this is really my vision. Also, like through this work, this deeper knowing came even more, like the body heals itself. So bringing people back to this state of really being able to listen to their body, their needs, and involving with that. And with this, I really truly believe that we can heal ourselves, because when we cut ourselves, it heals by itself. Like bringing this mindset back and this like belief into people. So this is my big bio. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love there was a lot of things, there was a lot of depth to what you said too.
Yeah.
That like a lot of depth around what I can kind of, I'm trying to extract what I heard, but these, for people, these like lineage beliefs and these patterns that get woven into the body, into the nervous system, that are, I see too, like with women that are usually around the witch wound or the motherhood wound or the fatherhood wound, the sister wound, like all of these things that happen between when we're children, and then it just gets woven into the programming, into the subconscious, and into the body, and shows up like pain. And also, like, I see a lot with that, these patterns around just not wanting to necessarily let it go, because then people start to live with these things and they don't want to face it or deal with it because that seems really difficult. So then we band-aid other things, right?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is helping people kind of, this is what I'm hearing, but helping people really reconnect and identify, come back into the power of the mind and the body connection. Like,
Yeah. And it's like really, really like through this, you see different parts of yourself coming up. So it can also say it's inner child work, because there's several layers of your inner child that come up, your inner teenager, but even maybe a year ago. And through this, you really start to integrate this part, and you don't cut it off. Like I actually had a session myself this morning, because I truly believe in this work. So I'm obviously continuing to do it myself. And there was this old part, it was so deep inside of me, which came up, and it was like this hidden small part who didn't believe that life could be good. And I felt like myself coming, like wanting to push away this part, like, no, I want to let it go. But actually what I have to do is see it and feel it and know this is part of my story, but now it's different. And I'm showing this part how good life can be. And it hurts to see these old paths, which are so woven into our whole being and changing our whole physical and like energetic and everything around it.
Yeah.
And actually something I really would love to say is also because we see these different parts in ourselves. And also like for me, like sometimes there's a different voice coming in, like maybe the one of my grandma or my father or my mother, and seeing them all with like compassion, what they stand for. And this then helps you to relate differently to other people. And I think especially what you said with like the mother wound or the father wound, the masculine, the feminine, to actually reconcile this first within yourself, but then also in the outer world. Like this is such a huge part of my story, to bring women and men back together, like to work back together, like not being one against the other. And yet like such a beautiful conversation around this, how it can show up. And this is something I feel so deeply from my work, because you see all these different parts in you. And then like when you are able to relate to them differently, you also see it differently in the outer world. And this is really beautiful, like how you can suddenly feel safe with other women if there's a sisterhood wound, but also with the masculine, like men, and like seeing that it's actually, it all starts within you. So I think this is so, something so important to me for my work.
That's beautiful. And I love that. It's like definitely the alignment and kind of what I've been talking about with the ripple effect, because if you get all of those parts and you get in alignment and like, you know, this thing of find it, face it, forgive it, and move forward.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, the only way out is through, baby.
Yes, yes.
You know, so let's do that in a loving way. But you know, like this, then you get to actually ripple effect like outward, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to, it's like, what are you rippling? Not, it's not good if you're not in alignment, because then you're in these frequencies of judgment, comparison, expectation, shame, you know, or
Yeah.
suppression. And that's when the body, I truly feel like from what I do, like see when the body gets out of alignment is because it's like you said, there was a cap, like the restriction, like it's suppressed. And for
Yeah.
women, we have to be really mindful of suppressing our womb and our voice, because those two are connected, and that really shows in the thyroid. And it's just, it's so wild, like when you really start to like learn about autoimmunity and these conditions in the body and seeing the energetics of it, you know, like how like the thyroid, which looks just like the pelvis, you know, like,
Yes.
but like the thyroid is, it's pretty much proven that people that have Hashimoto's or autoimmune against the thyroid are also people pleasers, people that don't use their voice, they don't express themselves, they don't speak their truth, they're suppressing their voice. And it's wild because that's where it goes. Like if you're not using a piece of the body, or you're suppressing it, or you're, what I like to say is, if you're putting, nobody likes to be put in the corner and told to shut up. So when you do that to a body part, it's going to speak up louder later or show up somewhere else louder. Like it's not
Yes.
going to just be like, okay, fine, mom. It's not going to do that. Your body like is going to act out. It's
Yeah.
going to be like, you need to listen to me, and I'm going to scream at you in certain ways until you deal with this. Enter Jessica, you know, or me, but like, you know what I mean, in different ways. But like, this is why it's so important as you're listening to this to know that there's so many different modalities, and there's so many people and other ways to address these things that you're moving through and experiencing. But what you shouldn't do is just suppress it or try to cover it up or band-aid it. Like you have to move through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I can't like stress that enough. I'm not like scream it off the roof. It's like the body will scream as well eventually, and it's for you to start listening to it. like the smallest signs, like your skin, like even if, yeah, it's not, yeah, just uncomfortableness, do something with that before it really gets into pain. If you're feeling you're there, it's like so important. And as you said, you can start slow with your practices, self-massage, self-touch, to feel like, oh, where do I feeling this and what's maybe even there for me?
Okay. So we're going to do this multiple times because I think you and I could just talk about everything all the time.
There are like so many boxes which open, like, ah,
Yeah,
really?
it's so good.
Yes.
But we have a few minutes left, and so I would love for you to tell everybody how we can find you, work with you, like what's going on in your world, since I'm sure everybody's like, oh my gosh, we need more.
Yes. So I think for both of us, they need more of both of us.
Well,
So
they'll get that.
important work.
They'll get that. We're on a roll. We're on a show here.
And yeah, so definitely you can find me on Instagram under Jessback, but I'm also on a big mission to start my YouTube channel to just share more about this from
Yes.
like different perspectives. And I'm called Jessica Rebecca, the Journey Woman.
On
And I'm
YouTube.
just, yes. And I'm just updating my website, like my offering. So if you feel like, oh, there's like health things you want to address, there's health consultation, where we're going to the root for this, also with somatic inquiry, but also in a broader picture. And then if you feel like, oh, I actually want to work deeper on more limiting beliefs, but maybe there's also like some body pain or illnesses, I'm working with like 3 or 6 months mentorships to really go deeper. And there's also in between support, so like through WhatsApp or Telegram. I feel like this is really the best way to work with me if you feel like you're called to this work and you want to explore more of this. And I'm so excited what we talked about in this episode, like the key, like the practices. So I'm launching a 6-week program called the Groundwork. It will be like live in a small group. I love to work in small groups because of the intimate and like the proximity. And so it's really about exploring different practices, like really starting with slow practices and go more into activation. So what we talked about, really also going into this expression and using your voice as well. This doesn't mean you're going to sing, but more just starting to making sounds and loosening up. But first starting with slow practices, because I believe there are like two kinds of people, like the ones who love doing HIIT and strength workout. So they're always in the activated state and they need to like have other practices. And then they're like the yin yoga type people, like, oh, just stretching, and they need more activation. So this is what I'm really trying to combine and show like different kind of practices and a little, how do you call that? A little snippet will be like, I'm also going to teach like the womb massage. So as we talked about the massage, yeah,
That sounds amazing. When are you starting that program?
mid-October.
Ooh, all right. And then this obviously is called the Quantum Compass, and I am starting a group program, and it's probably already out, but the Quantum Compass, and I would love, for you to come in and maybe do a little like session or speak to this because I think it's so complementary to what I do. Like it works well
Yeah,
together. So it would be fun.
thank you. I would love that. I'm definitely coming.
And then we'll put everything in the show notes, like all of your links and how to connect with you. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to this podcast. And like, I can't wait. I know we'll do more and just, really collaborate together. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Jamie.
Yay. Okay.